All right, it is an insurance industry practice called death spiraling. It's an insurance industry practice where companies force customers into more costly plans that offer fewer benefits. Consumer Watchdog accuses Blue Shield of death spiraling and this week filed a class action lawsuit against the company. Here's how it works. Robert Martin, one of the plaintiffs in the case, is a 59-year-old farmer in Gilroy, which is just south of San Jose. Well, Blue Shield of California raised his rates by 23%, almost a quarter. The company gave him two options: pay the new rate or switch to a plan with a higher deductible. He says he knew he'd have a hard time finding a new insurer, so he switched. But Blue Cross backed off the rate hike and wouldn't let him go to his old plan because it was closed to, quote, new members. The lawsuit claims Blue Shield is violating a 1993 state law that bans death spiraling. On Studio 11 this week, JustifyMyRates.com and Consumer Watchdog Jamie Court explain death spiraling and the lawsuit with Liz Habib. Take a listen.
When you close an insurance pool, a policy you have, if there are too few people in it, what happens is, they're too old or they're too sick, the premiums go through the roof. They can't afford it. The pool shrinks and there's a death spiral, meaning you have insurance you can't afford. And it's not covering anyone. So what you really want in an insurance pool is something that's big enough where the sick and the well pay in and the sick take out and the well keep paying in. It's big enough so that premiums don't get out of control. But what happened here was Blue Shield basically closed 30 plans and are consolidating them into 3. And the people who remain, who get the choice to remain in these old plans, the pool is so small and the premiums go up so much that they can't afford it. And the law that was put on the books in 1993 says if a health plan is going to close any type of block of business in the state of California, it has to have comparable options. It can't send you from a plan with a $250 deductible into a plan with a $5,000 deductible and much fewer benefits. And what Blue Shield did not do here was offer comparable benefits. It can't intentionally raise rates and throw people out of its plans just to throw them into something that's going to cost it less. It has to give them access to comparable benefit plans, and it didn't do that here.
Now, when you guys contacted Blue Shield, how did they respond to you?
Well, they argue that they're allowed to close plans and do what they want. But we had a very similar case against Anthem Blue Cross 2 years ago. That was settled. People were given their options, and it was done right. And Anthem Blue Cross did the right thing. When you raise rates so extremely, you're doing it for one reason. You're doing it to get rid of people. You can't just close a plan to get rid of people and scare them to giving up benefits that they've held for a decade or more.
Now, I don't know for sure. I mean, we don't. But this is all we have from Blue Shield. But I would assume, like you said, they would say this is the cost of doing business. This is just the way it is. We can't afford to insure all these people this way.
Well, in 1993, the legislature passed a law prohibiting this type of forcing people out of policies and possibly making them uninsured. The law was because Blue Shield was doing this. It was specifically in reaction to a Blue Shield policy. Now we're back with Blue Shield doing the same thing again. And that's why we're invoking this law. I mean, I think Blue Shield needs to get a better set of attorneys because it did not do this right. And if it wants to do the right thing, what it needs to do is give these people the options they should have had in the first place of comparable plans, comparable premiums. And if they're going to take away a rate hike, they need to let people who moved out of those generous policies back in at the old rate.
All right, so this is the official response from Blue Shield. Blue Shield says the allegations are false. We comply with all aspects of the block closure law and have since it was enacted.